So 195,000 and what is it? $336 in revenue, okay, in revenue from January 24th to March 5th. So how do we do it? Was it drop shipping? Was it branded? And how can you duplicate it? Okay. So I'm out here in London right now with my cousin, actually, Eunice, and he's actually a part of this store right here, played a big role in it. And, you know, we're out here in London actually. So let me just give you guys a quick little tour of this apartment. Funny story though. So we got a hotel on the way back from Portugal, and funny enough, 2 bedrooms out here in London, or a double bedroom in London, like when you're booking a hotel, actually means 1 room, 1 bed for 2 people. Okay, so it didn't really work out. I don't want to step all the way out because I have my socks on, but pretty awesome view. And so we canceled that hotel. Although I love my cousin right here, I'm definitely not sleeping with him. So we actually ended up grabbing this Airbnb for an absolute steal. And really the whole reason why this was possible, why Portugal was possible, was because of this e-commerce store right here, okay? I hardly ever traveled, and my room's kind of messy here, but also has an epic view. And then Eunice's room is over there. But the whole reason why this trip was possible was literally because of our Shopify store and our e-commerce brand. So I guess I just gave it away, right? It is an e-commerce brand. And quite honestly, we started off with dropshipping. If you've been following my channel, if you've been subscribed to this channel right here for a while, you've been following me for a while, we got our initial breakthrough from dropshipping, okay? I was doing door-to-door sales with my business partner, Juan Valdez, who couldn't make it, unfortunately. But we were doing door-to-door sales, living paycheck to paycheck, like getting kicked out of houses. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. But the whole time, really, our vision was on building an online business. And we started dropshipping because we just saw an article about these 2 entrepreneurs that started dropshipping and absolutely were killing it. And so we looked into dropshipping, and it made all the sense in the world for us as, you know, startup entrepreneurs. And the reason why I say that is because, well, dropshipping, by the way, if you don't know what dropshipping is, I'll explain it real quick. It's just really a finesse. It's a form of arbitrage, right? Where you just add products from AliExpress, you add them to, you know, your Shopify store. You don't have to buy anything wholesale. You simply just put on your Shopify store, you run some Facebook ads, and essentially when somebody buys, you'll just have the supply from China or wherever they are, just send it directly to the customer. However, when we first got into it, it definitely wasn't brand new, but it had been around for a little while. Again, it's a form of arbitrage where you find these like little points where you can kind of middleman things. And so when e-commerce was first, you know, new and, you know, really was the first kind of time that you can like run Facebook ads and Instagram ads to an e-commerce store. I mean, the market just had no idea that their products were going to come from China. Okay. So, and as a matter of fact, probably if you're watching this right now, you might have even bought something from a Facebook ad and, you know, you didn't know that you were going to get it drop shipped, and it just came, you know, 3 to 7 weeks later, and it came out in all this foreign packaging. And really what happened over the past year and a half is the market became very, very well aware of drop shippers. Okay, so the market, and by the market, I'm talking about consumers, they just become more careful of who they buy from, where they buy from. And they're even willing to pay a little bit more now to avoid drop shipping type of stores and, you know, people that are doing this form of arbitrage. And quite honestly, we were really, really big into drop shipping, okay? We were doing really well, getting great results. And all of a sudden, our results just started to, you know, started to crumble. And so while the majority of people were, you know, kind of like still hyping up and really pumping out dropshipping content, if you notice, I haven't really made much content on or about dropshipping in a while, okay? And the reason why was because we were literally trying to figure out how can we adapt, right? Because as the famous saying goes, it's you either adapt or you die, all right? And really, I forget the exact quote or who it's from, but there's another part of it that goes something like, it's not about it's not about the survival of the fittest. It's about who can adapt the quickest. Okay. So although we definitely aren't the smartest, you know, again, like I came from Africa when I was like 8 years old. Juan, you know, from a really tough neighborhood. And so we didn't come from a very wealthy background. We figured things out on the fly, right? Just like probably like you are, you know, right now. And so when our results with dropshipping started to trickle down and started to slow down, our profits got tighter and tighter, we had to look for the solution. We had to find a way to adapt. And we really just started interviewing some of the top entrepreneurs in the game, some of the top e-compreneurs in the game. And I'm talking about guys like Dan Fleischman, guys like Mark Brazil from Iconic, guys like, you know, Corey Shapiro from Vintage Frames, which is probably your celebrity's favorite, you know, sunglasses brand. And the one thing that we kept hearing about over and over again is really about branding, okay? And so it just started becoming like a common theme. And quite honestly, we had somebody tell us about it way like a long, long time ago when we got our first big breakthrough. When we had done, I think it was about like $200,000 a month dropshipping this random product online. It was actually one of those sticky bras that was super viral for a while. And we had met somebody out in Vegas. I don't want to say his name because he likes to be low key and he doesn't really like getting bombarded with messages. And he's really just a family kind of guy and just kind of a low key person. And so, you know, he told us, he's like, we show him the product that we're selling because he was doing about 300K a day. It was absolutely insane. And so we show him our product, right? The sticky bra. And then he shows us his store and he was selling literally the exact same product, but there was two major differences. Okay. One was that he was branding it, right? He was putting his company's brand on the actual product, on the box, on the tags, and even adding some stickers in there. And the second thing was he was actually wholesaling these products into a warehouse, into a fulfillment center, and making sure that his customers got it within 2 to 4 days. And I'll explain as to why, the benefit of doing so. But the first one, right? The first one is branding, okay? Now, I am not the world's greatest brander in the world, but I'll tell you what. If you ever go around and you shop around, or maybe you're on Amazon, you'll realize that there's usually products that look exactly the same, and they might even be the same, but just different logos on it. And the reason why is because when we see a brand, right, we just see authority, we see credibility. But when something is not branded, it raises fear, it raises suspicion, it raises, doubt, right, within that purchase. And so that's one, right? And the second thing, like I said, is getting it out to your customers within 2 to 4 days. And the reason why that's super important is because the company, Amazon, right, the $1 trillion e-commerce company, Amazon, which, by the way, doesn't actually sell its own products. It just has a bunch of other, people just like you and I, right? Average people, guys, gals, just listing products on there. And all they really focus on is fulfilling as quickly as possible, putting the customer first, right? And Amazon has made it the norm, okay? The norm, the industry average to get a product within that time span. And so if you think about it, unless you're able to kind of compete within, 1 day prime shipping or 2 to 4 days, you literally have no shot at long-term success. And so really our drop shipping kind of story or our cycle, it went something like this, right? We would find a viral product, we would scale it, we do really well, a lot of people would buy it. And then as soon as they realized that, hey, this is coming from China, it's going to take 3 to 7 weeks, they literally made a vow to never buy from us again. And quite honestly, I don't blame them, because if that happened to me, I would do the same exact thing. And if you notice nowadays, right, if I told you, hey, look, let's just say I had like an iPhone case, right? I'm like, hey, you could get this iPhone case for $10, but it's going to take 3 to 7 weeks and it's going to come from China. Or you could buy this iPhone case right here for $60, but it's going to get to your house 1 to 2 days. Believe it or not, a lot of people would choose the $60 option for the quickest shipping. And the reason for that is because we are all about instant gratification. That's really what humans are all about nowadays, right? You got companies like Uber Eats. I mean, Amazon, that obviously fulfills instant gratification. You got things like social media. Back in the day, if you want to socialize, you had to go out and meet people and talk to them. Now you just hop on social media or Tinder or whatever, and boom, you're socializing. And so those are kind of the two biggest things that really make these results possible. And the best part is that when something is branded and it gets to your customer's house and you're able to fulfill on that instant gratification, not only are they going to tell their friends, but they're going to tell their family, they're going to post about it on social media, and they're going to come back and buy from you again and again. And so really the one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind as you're building your e-commerce business is to keep that at the forefront, okay? Because dropshipping, as I mentioned earlier, makes all the sense for the entrepreneur. But for the customer, it's the worst deal ever, right? They have to wait a long time. They don't even know what brand you are. And by the way, putting a logo on a store is not branding, okay? That's just a logo on a Shopify store. Branding is about putting it on the product, on the box, on the tag. That's what it comes down to, okay? And, right? Like it would go up and then generate tons of customers, tons of revenue, but they would never come back and buy from us again. And so one of the most important things that I've learned from Jay Abraham, who's pretty much a marketing guru, and Eunice, actually, he doesn't really read that much books, but when he picked up Mr. X, what'd you think about it?
Amazing. That was
right?
the best book I ever read.
And it was the main point of that book, which he kept reiterating again and again, was that customers are your most important asset as a business. It is literally your most important asset as a business. And the reason why is because they are your customers. They've already bought from you. And believe it or not, it is 10 times easier to sell an existing customer than it is a new one. Why? Because they see that you sent them quality products, you fulfill their instant gratification, and they'll rather double down on you than have to go out and find somebody else. And so it's totally fine if you want to keep drop shipping, if you want to keep chasing trends like a chicken with your head cut off, with its head cut off. If you want to keep chasing tiny razor thin margins, because I'll tell you what, anybody out there that's drop shipping right now, I promise you they are not making nearly as much profit as we are. Okay, and I'm willing to bet on it. Tag anyone in the description, whatever, and we can go side by side. They'll put up their Facebook ads. We're getting about 30 to 40% profit margins on these right now. And we haven't even tapped into influencer marketing. Okay, there's a lot of people who say, oh, influencer marketing, it's genius. Well, guess what? No influencer is going to want to shout out a product that's going to take 3 to 7 weeks to get to their fans. It has no branding on it, so they can't even tag the brand. And, they want to keep their image up. And so with a branded product, literally, influencers are more than happy to shout us out for free. They're more than happy to, share us with their followers and shout us out and all that good stuff. Why? Because our brand is solid. And building a brand is not rocket science, okay? It is not rocket science. There's tons of great books out there that, kind of dive really deep into branding and, make it seem like it's this huge deal. Well, in reality, it used to be, right? If you wanted to build like a Coca-Cola type of deal, you had to invest millions and billions of dollars to get influencers to promote it, right? Like a Michael Jackson commercial, for example, that he did with Coca-Cola, I think ran anywhere from it was somewhere along the lines of like $100 million, okay? And back at Michael Jackson's time, that was huge. Well, now influencers are literally, they're so thirsty for, not necessarily thirst, that sounds mean, but they're so, they're so like caught up on this idea of being an influencer and it seems cool to shout out brands. But the reality is that people that are actually capitalizing on influencers are the brands, okay? Influencers, maybe they get some free stuff, maybe like, we had to pay, I think the highest we had to pay one of our influencers was like, what, $40? Yeah, so far. So far, actually. I mean, we've gotten some ridiculous rates, don't get me wrong, but $40, she had like 400,000 followers, insane engagement, but it was because they really loved our brand and they loved our product. And so with that being said, make sure that you are using drop shipping, okay? I shouldn't say that drop shipping isn't effective anymore. I mean, it isn't a long-term play. It isn't a very profitable play. Use drop shipping as a means of testing products, as a means of finding trends, right? Proving products. And as soon as you start getting some sales, literally just start branding the products. I mean, some of these suppliers out in China or Japan, they can literally give you like 50 piece, 100 piece minimum to put your brand on the box, on the unit, on the product, and the tag, and the manuals. Like, it's insane. So a lot of people, when they think of private labeling or branding, they think they have to ditch out thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to get something branded. When, I mean, I'll be honest, I used to think the same thing, but come to find out, it's a lot easier than a lot of people think. And also, Facebook ads, okay? Facebook ads, Instagram ads do a whole lot better when the product is actually branded, okay? Because it came to a point in time, you know, in our career or just in drop shipping in general, where, especially if you're watching a lot of these drop shipping webinars or videos, they're telling you to, step 1, find a trending product. Step 2, copy their ad, copy their video, copy their pictures, copy their product description. And so just literally everybody just copying each other, using the same exact ads, ad copy, pictures, product descriptions, and then trying to compete on price alone, which is the worst form of competition. Okay, if you want to dominate in this game, you got to be able to dominate with value and build brand equity. Okay, so if you want to learn more about how we're building these micro brands right here, how we are able to travel to, you know, around the world. I don't want to sound corny in this video, but you know, how we're able to literally just, you know, not have a set schedule, not have a boss, live life on our own terms, essentially. But at the same time, don't get it twisted. We work harder than anybody else. Like any of our friends that we know personally, we work harder than all of them put together, okay? And therefore, we get to reap the rewards of doing so, all right? So if you are willing to put in the work, if you are willing to take the extra inch to get a mile's worth of results, again, if you want to keep drop shipping, raising, you know, trying to chase trends like a chicken with its head cut off and these raisin thin profit margins, by all means do so. Completely fine with us, okay? Less competition for us. But if you want to build a long-term brand that you can actually sell, because we do have plans of selling our brand real soon. Not real soon, I should say, but when it's big enough, when the money is right, go ahead, click the link below. All right, click the link below. I'll attach a free case study. All right, we're calling it the micro branding case study. All right, how literally everything I just talked about, but in exact detail and a lot more, you know, with a lot more information. All right, a lot more steps that you can use to duplicate our formula. And you know, I know for a fact, right, that 99% of drop shippers are just going to give up on drop shipping and just like go to another, you know, easy trend, whatever it might be, Forex, automated bots, right? People think that they can make money by just pressing a button, or they might go do SMMA, whatever, right? That's totally fine with us. But there's always a certain percentage of people, we're one of them, that when times get tough, we adapt, okay? While the rest of people die and you know, run away, we adapt, and that's why we're able to still generate insane results like these. So go ahead, click that link below, check out the free case study. It won't be up for long, okay? It will not be up for long. Why? Because we're probably gonna, you know, take it down and keep this thing private to us, just like most other e-compreneurs that are actually building brands. They do not share their strategies, all right? The Secure to Back podcast that we didn't do it just for the sake of having a podcast. We did the Secure to Back podcast to actually solve a problem of ours. So if you don't believe what I'm saying in this video, in the case study, just go ahead, go watch the, so as I was saying, right, before my phone just died, if you don't believe me, check out the Secure to Back podcast, listen to what these heavy hitters are saying, and then go ahead and try to reach out to them and see if they can help you. And I'll tell you what, they're going to say no. And the reason why is because they are just super busy and they just got too much going on, all right? But I have a passion for helping others out, because when I was first getting started, I was completely lost. And about the only person that I can really speak to was my buddy Steven Bransfield, who was just dominating the internet marketing game. And I would get about 5 to 10 minutes of his time, you know, once every couple of weeks. And within each time, he would give me a golden nugget. Okay, so I made a promise to myself really, really long time ago, all right? When I was just still living at my parents' house, before I moved to Los Angeles, before we started doing, you know, 6 figures a month. That was a time where I promised myself that once I figure this thing out, I will continue to help people out. And when we figured out drop shipping, we made tons of content on that, and we helped a lot of people duplicate our formula. But unfortunately, as time goes by, things change. And so that's why we feel like it is an ethical responsibility and a moral responsibility of ours to keep you guys updated, to keep the Shibane Gang out there updated. So with that being said, last one, go ahead, click the link below, check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Leave a comment if this hit home for you. If you have been trying to drop ship and haven't been getting any results, or maybe you are getting results but no profits, and just let me know what you think. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Love you guys. Wish you the best of luck. And don't give up, all right? People give up too easily. Bye-bye.